Hello everyone and welcome to my channel Make It Yourself. Today we are going to make this really simple and easy heart pattern, and this is also called as a pocket hug, and you can gift it to your friends or your loved ones. And this is like a very useful last moment project because you can make these hearts within a few minutes and can use them for gifting to the people you love. So let's get started, and before we start I would like to say that the details related to the hook size and the yarn used will be available in the description, so do refer to the description. So we're going to start off by making a magic ring, and we're going to chain one. Now we take out the magic ring from our fingers, and into this magic ring we are going to make 8 puff stitch. So to make a puff stitch we're going to yarn over and pull under the magic ring 3 times, and then we're going to pull through all the loops and then make a slip stitch. So let me show once: yarn over once, yarn over twice, yarn over 3 times, and pull through all the loops and then make a slip stitch. Similarly, yarn over 3 times and pull through all the loops and make a slip stitch. So we're going to do this 8 times, and we're going to have 8 puff stitches into this magic ring. So if you guys feel that this video is a little bit fast, in the settings of the YouTube there's a setting where you can slow down the speed, and based on your preference you can adjust the speed. So here this is the last, or the 8th puff stitch that I am making now, and after pulling through one, making the slip stitch, now I'm going to close the magic ring as much as possible, and then on top of our first puff stitch I'm going to make a slip stitch. So this is the top stitch of the first puff stitch, and there I'm going to make a slip stitch. After that, into this gap between the 2 puff stitch I'm going to make a slip stitch first, and then I'm going to make again 5 puff stitches into this gap. So here to the puff stitches that we are making, we are yarning over and pulling through 3 times. So this is the second puff stitch, and here we are pulling 3 loops, 1, 2 and 3. So we're pulling the loops 3 times and making the puff stitch. So we'll be making 5 puff stitches into this first space, and after we are done with our first set of 5 puff stitches, so we have 5 puff stitches here, into the next stitch we are going to make, so close the magic ring as tight as possible, and after that into the second space, that is between the next two puffs, we are going to make just 1 puff stitch, but this puff stitch will have like 4 yarn overs, and we'll be pulling through 4 times. So this is the puff stitch in the second space. Now into the third space again you will be making 1 puff stitch, but you'll be yarning over and pulling under the stitch 4 times. So the puff stitch that we made in the first gap, that is the 5 puff stitches, those had like 3 yarn overs and 3 sets of loops. This one had 4 sets of loops. Now into the fourth stitch or gap we are going to make 5 puff stitches again. So if you find this difficult to understand, like making 3 sets of loops and 4 sets of loops, then you can just make the puff stitch with the 3 sets of loops itself instead of complicating. But when you make this 4 sets of loops, since we are just having one puff stitch, it gives a better look. So the ones where we are making 5 puff stitches, we are using this 3 sets of yarning over and looping, and the ones where we are making single puff stitch, we are making 4 sets. So this one again we are going to make here a 4 set of 1 puff stitch. So yarn over and pull under the stitch 4 times, and then pull through all the loops, and then make a slip stitch. Similarly into the next one also, yarn over and pull under the loop 4 times, and then pull through all and make a slip stitch. So in the first stitch we made 5 puff stitches, then the next 2 stitches we just made one puff stitch, then in the fourth stitch we again made 5 puff stitches, followed by the fifth and sixth stitch we just made one stitch, and in the seventh stitch we are going to make 5 puff stitches again. So make 5 puff stitches here. So here, since they are the 5 puff stitches, you'll just be yarning over and pulling under the stitch 3 times. So this is a puff stitch with 3 sets of loops. So make 5 puff stitches, and so this is the last set of puff stitch, and after you are done with 5 puff stitch, we are just going to slip stitch into the next stitch. So this is we are on the 7th stitch, and now on the 8th stitch we are just going to make a slip stitch. So this is the 8th stitch, the gap of the 8th stitch, going to make a slip stitch here, and then on top of our very first stitch we are going to make 1 single crochet, then the second stitch, the second single crochet, third stitch, third single crochet, the fourth stitch, the fourth single crochet, and after the fifth stitch, that is the fifth single crochet, on the sixth stitch, that is the midpoint of the 5 stitches. So here we are going to make 1 increase. So we are going to make 2 single crochets in the same stitch. So into the next 13 stitches we are just going to make 1 single crochet over each stitch. So here 1 stitch will be on top of the puff stitch and another stitch will be in the gap. So what we did is we made an increase in the first section where we had the 5 puff stitches. So in the center we did 1 increase, and now we are making 13 single crochet in the next 13 stitches. And again, when we get the next set of 5 puff stitches into the center, that is on top of the third puff stitch, we will be making 1 single crochet, chain 2 and 1 single crochet. So exactly you count 13 stitches, and on the 14 stitches, that is the middle stitch, we'll be making 1 single crochet, chain 2 and 1 single crochet. So that gives the pointy edge of the heart. And after that, again the next 13 stitches we are just going to make 1 single crochet in each, and so this round is basically just 1 single crochet in each. The first corner, that is on the first set of 5 puff stitches, there we did one increase. On the bottom set of 5 puff stitches, we made a one single crochet chain two and one single crochet to give it the pointy edge. And again on the last set, that is the third set of 5 puff stitches, here too into the middle puff stitch, that is the third puff stitch, on top of that we are just going to make an increase. So just finish off your 13 single crochets, and by then you would have reached the middle puff stitch of the set of 5. And once you're on top of the middle, that is the third puff stitch, you are going to make one increase. So here make an increase, that is to make 2 single crochets in the same stitch. Now the remaining 5 stitches, just make 1 single crochet in each. So make the last single crochet into the last stitch. Now what we are going to do is we are going to insert our hook into the center of this heart and pull this loop from behind, and then make a slip stitch. So what this will do is it will create that a wedge kind of in the middle to give this heart a proper shape. So make this slip stitch here and make one more slip stitch on top, pull the yarn tight, and then trim the yarn off. So here we are done with the heart pattern. We just have to stitch in the ends. So turn your heart back and then tie the 2 tail yarns together on the back side. Place 2 knots, and the poking ends you can stitch it or crochet it into the existing stitches. Here I'm using a smaller hook and just pulling the tail yarn through few of the existing stitches and then trimming it off. Similarly for the other tail yarn, also pull it through few of the existing stitches and then trim it off. So here our very simple heart is ready, and you can give it as a Valentine's Day gift, and you can use it as a pocket hug as well. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. So do subscribe to my channel and click on the bell icon for notifications on new videos, and give me a thumbs up guys if this video was useful. Thank you very much for watching and have a great day.